Was I streaming?
No, I think I was, I'm a Hasanabi head. So I was
Hasanabi guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was waiting in line and I saw you and I asked you about Shanghai since
you were in line for the signing or the meeting.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Nice. It's a perfect segue into the Drew Gooden.
Sorry I haven't posted a video in a while. I went to Europe on vacation, but we accidentally locked our keys in the car, so we had to swim back. Boy, are my arms tired.
Oh, come on. That's the best you could come up with.
It's been like 2 months, man.
You suck.
Ah, shit. In case you didn't hear, the Writers Guild of America went on strike this month for the first...
Good meta commentary. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna pee. I'll be back in a second. This is Drew Gooden's new video on the writer strike, which I will be covering in a second.
in 15 years. As a result, shows like Saturday Night Live, The Daily Show, and Late Night with Jimmy, and Jimmy have ceased production until negotiations are agreed upon. The longer the negotiations take, however, the more shows will be delayed and affected. It won't just be daily talk shows, it'll be entire seasons of your favorite Netflix show. And for the shows that insist on powering through without writers, it will have the potential to completely tank the entire series, because that's what happened last time, and there's a very good chance it's going to happen again. If you don't remember the 2007 writers' strike, it was a weird time for TV. Scrambling to come up with new programming without being able to employ writers, a lot of networks started doubling down on reality shows, which really altered the landscape of television for years and years after that, even though the strike itself only lasted about 13 weeks. I mean, TLC started just falling around families with a bunch of kids for a while. That was kind of weird. The Apprentice went from being nearly canceled to one of the most popular shows on TV, which I'm sure didn't have any political ramifications about 9 years later. But maybe worst of all, they started airing Price is Right at night. A lot of scripted shows at the time basically imploded from the strike. Seasons would be cut short, or instead they'd just try to keep on making them without the writers, and that was usually a disaster. The one I personally remember being affected the most was Heroes. This show was so fun to watch when it first came out. It felt like a big event that like everyone was tuned into. But starting out, it was very similar to Lost's first season, where you've got like this huge ensemble of characters, and as it goes, you kind of spend each one episode fleshing them out each individually, and you start to realize how they're all intertwined. I remember the finale being like hinted at from the beginning, so you kind of knew where everything was going to converge, but you were still fascinated just to see how they would get there.
No, Heroes!
Also, the main villain of the show could cut people's heads open by pointing at them, and that was cool as hell. So when season 2 started, the showrunner developed this big vision for everything that would come, but had to slow things down for a bit, set up some new characters and plot points, get the ball rolling on that. And it was a little confusing, but you felt like it was all leading to something. Until the writer's strike hit. Suddenly they have to scramble to condense 12 episodes into a 2-part finale, and what was already a little bit of a mess only gets 100 times messier. All of the momentum the show needed going forward was gone. A lot of these new characters got so little airtime, but then became integral to the story, and in the dust was left a show that ultimately survived the strike, but never fully recovered from the damage. Most movies weren't affected nearly as much as scripted TV was, but the ones that were hit hard. Quantum of Solace was shot with very little script, and obviously no writers on set, so they just had Daniel Craig improvise lines that he thought James Bond would say, and you know, we'll fix it in post. They did not fix it in post. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen began filming with no script, just a 14-page outline written by Michael Bay himself.
What? What the fuck? Yo, I did not know that. Oh my god, they made such fucking dog shit, dude. That's crazy. Michael Bay was like, I don't need a script. It's just explosions anyway.
Knowing Transformers, 14 pages actually kind of seems like a lot. I can only assume he was using a really big font. But as rough as things got for the movies that bombed and the shows that got canceled, these failures were ultimately necessary for the Writers Guild to win, because they were able to prove the value that they had to companies who seemed to think that they didn't have any. All it took was hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue for Universal and Paramount to be like, wait, if we don't have writers to write the shows, then we can't make any shows.
Why do people keep saying new Internet Historian? Internet Historian came out with a new video? Really? Why are people saying that?
And that we can't make any money off the shows? Why didn't you explain it to me like that in the first place? So eventually their demands were met, the strike ended, and the producers and writers lived happily ever after. until like 12 days ago. The WGA is striking again with a few main bullet points. They're trying to stop production companies from continuing to shrink writers' rooms. They're fighting to be paid residuals for streaming shows rather than just a day rate. And they're fighting to keep AI out of the writer's room altogether, because as much as Silicon Valley tech bros look at ChatGPT with dollar signs in their eyes, it completely undermines writers and really the entire point of art in the first place. Not that that matters. So one of the biggest differences between this strike and the last one is that a lot of the demands coming from the writers are in regards to streaming services, which for years have been treated by Hollywood as like this fun little side thing that, you know.
Pretty fire for Drew to make this video, by the way. It's unique, it's entertaining, and it talks about the fucking writer's strike. I mean, what a fucking G, dude. What a ledge. What a fucking ledge. Absolute ledge, yeah. Fucking hell.
It doesn't come close to matching the allure and prestige of cable television.
I am a surgeon!
Even though
he put the good doctor in there too.
Well-respected show from the past 7 years has come from Apple TV, Netflix, or HBO Max. But because streaming is still archaically being viewed in this way, the writers are not able to receive nearly the same benefits. For example, thanks to past strikes and negotiations, network TV writers continue to get paid every time their show re-airs in syndication. So since shows like The Office and It's Always Sunny air over and over and over again on cable television and therefore continue to earn revenue, the writers keep getting paychecks. Which makes sense, right? As long as something keeps making money, then everyone involved in making it should keep getting a percentage of that money. But on streaming, there is no potential for growth for the people who helped bring it into existence. If you're involved in writing something that goes on to become the most popular show on Hulu for weeks and causes thousands of people to sign up for a subscription that they didn't have before just because they want to see the show you made, and maybe they even like it so much that they just continue to pay that subscription until the next season comes out, none of that matters to you because you'll never see any of that extra revenue that you helped earn. There's no financial upside for doing a good job. So overall, that's probably the biggest issue of the strike, but there are a few others. For years, production companies have been pushing for smaller and smaller writing rooms, which puts more work on the shoulders of fewer people and gets rid of the job security that used to be there for everyone who is now brought on for just as short of a time as humanly possible. Most of those people are paid for just a couple of weeks of work. They come in, they learn the show, they contribute a few ideas, and then they're told to get the fuck out of there so we don't have to put your name in the credits and we don't have to keep you employed while we continue to work on the thing that you helped come up with. And I think this is where one of the biggest misunderstandings about scripts comes in, where people treat it as if it's something the writers just type up and then they print it out and then the script is done. Now we can send all those people home and show them the movie when we're done filming it in 6 months. But that's not how it works, or at least not how it should and has in the past. Scripts are constantly evolving, even once filming starts. Sometimes everyone shows up to set and a joke doesn't really work as it was written because it just doesn't sound right coming from the actor, or a prop doesn't look like the way they had intended and now this line doesn't make sense.
It's wild that you gotta fucking describe this and how important it is. And originally I thought like, oh no, everybody understands that like writing is important. And then I realized, and then I, started streaming on twitch.tv one day when the writer's strike was happening, and people didn't even recognize that like the set you see, like what you see with your eyes, what you visualize, what you were seeing with your eyes was written on a script at some point, and people didn't even get that. Like people literally do not understand that like when you see a set, you think that like, oh, it came there on its own. Like, no, man, someone wrote that in there. So then they hired like a set designer and a bunch of other teams to basically put that together. Yeah, like when we were watching the trailer for 10 Cloverfield and someone was like, there's no lines in this, dog. What did the writers write? Everything. Fuck.
Or the location doesn't accommodate the shot that they had planned. So now we got to quickly get together and figure out an alternative because every second that we don't get work done, we are burning through our budget. Let's brainstorm, guys. From what I've heard from people in the industry, this stuff happens literally every day. It's just how filming goes. So having people in the room who wrote the words and understand the story inside and out is the best way to make a quick change that doesn't disrupt the flow of filming. It's a collaborative process from everyone involved in order to make the best thing possible. And sometimes that means means adapting on the fly rather than just, sticking with words that were typed 4 months ago no matter what happens. But like I said, this entire part of the process has slowly been getting cut out in order to save costs, and this is having two major effects on the industry. One, it's making shows not as good as they could be because you're having fewer people on set to contribute ideas when changes are inevitably needed. And two, writers are missing out on the invaluable experience that comes with being on set during your production, where they would get a glimpse into the entire process and everything that goes into bringing these scripts to life. Experience that historically has been vital as these writers continue to move up the career ladder to showrunner, director, executive producer. Like, they have to realize that they're cutting out this entire sector of built-in, inexpensive, on-the-job training in an industry where more and more money keeps getting thrown at these giant productions, but then you're handing the keys over to people who've never been even remotely taught how to be in charge of something like that.
In my own experience, I had a full room for 20 weeks with a brilliant group of writers. None of them were allowed to come to set. Their contracts ended before we started production. So they're all technically writer-producers. Some of them had the title of producer, but they were not welcome to set to produce their episodes, which is both robbing the show of their perspective. But your point is it's robbing the future of the industry because the thing.
What's so funny is that a lot of those guys are like copywriters with blue check marks talking about people that direct and come up with the entertainment they enjoy. Bitch, you're a writer. You write shitty marketing type. You're not better. Yeah, well, that's the difference because, like, it's almost like you listen to Chapo in their latest episode. Yeah, everything revolves around Chapo in their latest episodes. So the thing is, I mean, I love Chapo. They're my friends, but, like, come on now. Only Chapo knows things about writers. Oh my God. Gotta talk about David Simon. Thank you, friggin' Banana Pants. Yo, David Simon went on an unhinged rant, by the way. Not about this, but about cops. It was crazy. Did you guys see it? He was like defending cops and policing in the most unhinged way. Okay. Aaron Sorkin is anti-union. Let's go. Of course he is, dude. But a union makes sense when people have more power as a group on having shared credit, just right process on the strike. I'm also one of the 9% of the Writers Guild who did not write the vote to support the strike. Let's go. You know, of course Aaron Sorkin is anti-fucking union, dude. Of course he is. 2010. Let's go, baby. Let's fucking go, dude. Of course he is. God, he is so unhinged. David Simon supports the strike at least? Of course. David Simon supports the strike, and he also supports... David Simon is responsible for the best anti-propaganda media that is available for public consumption. And I find it truly hilarious that he spends so much of his time on Twitter defending cops now. Like, where is it? I need to find it. Not the writer's strike one. We'll do one good. We'll do one good David Simon on the writer's strike thing, and then we'll do one on him defending cops. Okay. So Richard Hananya, who is a fucking absolute freakazoid, okay, wrote this. I don't have much hope that we'll solve crime in any meaningful way. It would require a revolution in our culture or form of government. We need more policing, incarceration, and surveillance of black people. Blacks won't appreciate it. Whites don't have the stomach for it. So he just wrote that out loud, which is like insanely racist, right? I mean, absolutely unimaginably racist. So Jeet here turns around and says, this is what all Law and Order people think, but most aren't honest enough to express it publicly, right? David Simon saw that and said, hey, what's up, guys? I'm David Simon, the writer, director of The Wire. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm David Simon. I wrote and directed some of the best anti-cop videos you have seen. I did an incredible rendition of the original work of journalism coming out of Baltimore on, on We Own the Night is what it was called. I've talked about this a lot. Hey, what's up? I'm David Simon, and I love cops. Hello. He worked on, hey, what's up? I'm David Simon. I worked on the Baltimore Sun City desk for 12 years and wrote Homicide, a year on the killing streets. What's up? I'm David Simon, and you might recognize me from We Own the City. Or what's up? I'm David Simon. You might recognize me from defending the most unhinged racist creed that I will defend now for no reason. He said he's an asshole, but you're doing no one any good service by using him to hyperbolically declare that any and all argument for sound policing is racist in origin or intent. It's like, why did you think that this was about you? Like, you literally could have avoided talking about this. You could have just read that and moved on. But he was like, no, I'm David Simon. I also think law and order. I'm a law and order guy. Okay? So I'm going to fucking defend it. You can't stop me. I'm David fucking Simon. Okay? It isn't. And a deterrent based on competent retroactive investigation of felonies works. Addressing violent crime by seriously, I fucking had to bookmark it, by seriously probing incidents, especially those in the most vulnerable neighborhoods, and arresting repeat offenders may in fact be the most definitive thing law enforcement can do to reduce serious crime. This has been demonstrated dramatically by several policing initiatives going back to Boston's remarkable programming in 1995. And nothing here argued for profiling or targeting or randomized engagement with black citizens. That shit is certainly worth condemning. But the fact is, when police fail to seriously probe and resolve crimes against vulnerable communities, crime goes up. So here's one thing I have to mention. And it's funny because, like, I say similar things, not defending Richard Hanania, okay? But, like, I say this all the time. I'm like, dog, you still need, like, someone to solve crimes. Whenever someone comes up to me and is like, I'm crusty, and I think, like, there's no reason for policing. We should just, focus on a rehabilitative approach to justice that also does not mean that there's no enforcement of the rules and laws that we have collectively decided are sound, right, for societal development. And I'm like, no, that's stupid because someone needs to solve the crimes. I'm saying police don't currently, okay? You have a 50-50 chance of getting away with murder in this country. That's right. For the record, for those of you who don't know, that's literally a factually correct statistic. It blows my fucking mind, honestly. 50-50 chance of getting away with murder in this country. Only 50% of murders are cleared. Okay, so let's continue, right? So they're not even doing a good job. Okay? So, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, like, you still need a group of people to just be like, yeah, we gotta solve it. Like, we gotta solve crimes, right? We gotta solve crimes. Is that a W or an L for murder? It's 50-50. It's a W murder or L murder, depending on where your position's at. Okay? So, a bit of a W for murderers and a bit of an L for the murdered. So yeah, I do understand that we still need, like, some form of policing, some organization that you would understand to be, like, doing the job that theoretically the police are supposed to be doing. Hold on one second. No, police probably would end up with even more Jordan Neelys. Anyway, my point is, this is the most awful way of, like, explaining the situation because you seem like you are retroactively defending what Richard Hanania said, which was racist as fuck. That's not what policing is, dog. He's not talking about, like, not a single part of this is talking about, like, solving crimes in, more marginalized communities. He's literally saying over police and occupy black neighborhoods. Like, he's not even hiding it. He's just very openly saying that. So why the fuck would you ever try to, like, put liberal seasoning on that fascist spice and try to make it more like appropriate. Very weird. Okay? Just because the institution is corrupt doesn't mean we can't fix it, dumb. Wait, first of all, I did not say that. I don't know how we would fix policing as an institution under capitalism, but you know, but it's ridiculous to act like, you know, it's an easy solution or something. Okay. Anyway, Boston's remarkable programming, pro result. See Louis' ghetto side for a bracing test of this reality, or note my city where collapse of the arrests for homicide from 70% to a current 13% is the difference between 220 slayings a year and 350, most of whom are young, male, and black. Which brings us to my final critique here. I live in Baltimore and know folks from all points of the local compass, and the only people I hear for arguing that policing is oppression or that any afford to maintain any law and order are never people trying to raise families or reside or work in West Baltimore or East Side or Pimlico or Cherry Hill. They are either academics, commentators, or ideologues who very much live elsewhere. The people I hear from want the shooters to be locked the fuck up. Yeah, no shit. Who says shooters should not be locked up? Not only are you now defending Richard Hanaya's his ridiculous racist screed, even if you don't agree with it, you functionally and fundamentally are defending him. Okay? But you also are like, you know, doing straw mans in defense of like the counter against him. Again, this is no argument for mass arrest or incarceration, for broken windows policing, for drug warring, for harassment, but it is very much an argument for essential police work, which is why abolitionists and defund mooks can't endure it. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You and I have such different bookmarks. It's gay as fuck for a man to say he's craving anything. Okay, but this is like facts, though. It is. What are you craving? Craving some dick? Exactly. That's what I thought. As a man, if you say you're craving anything, it means you're craving dick. True. Is this true? Jerking off is gay. You're a man playing with a penis for fun. Gay. Also true. Yeah. Anyway, we got here because I was watching Drew talk about the writer's strike.
Things you learn on set are completely different than what you learn in a room just writing scenes that don't cost anything and you can put them anywhere you want. And then you end up with this continuing cascade of problems, right? Where like people are suddenly given a chance to make their own show as they should, but they don't have the experience on set and they're set up to fail.
So ironically, what's going to happen is there are going to be more and more issues that arise on sets, expensive issues that result in reshoots and delays and extended post-production timelines. And before you know it, all of the money the studio was trying to save by pinching pennies at every corner is just gonna burst into flames anyway. I read that even one day of reshoots can cost like $250,000 when you have these writers who are just trying to stay employed for a few extra weeks so they can help out on set where they could have helped prevent the reshoots in the first place. Almost 100% of the time, it would have been cheaper just to pay them. It's so stupid. You've got the real life embodiment of Kendall Roy out here making business first creative decisions that make shows worse and then lose money anyway. So in my opinion, everything the WGA is fighting for is more than fair. Everyone deserves to be paid what they're worth, and there's absolutely no reason in this situation to be rooting for the CEO of Warner Brothers who can't even seem to figure out what they want their app to be called. And yet, even though to me it seems like a no-brainer thing to support, that hasn't stopped some of the dumbest people on the planet, Twitter Blue subscribers, from sowing discourse. Like there's this weird thing where people seem to assume everyone in Hollywood is filthy rich just because the industry they're a part of is. But on average, writers are earning less than they did 10 years ago. Writing jobs don't last nearly as long as they used to because seasons are significantly shorter now, and no one wants to keep the writers around once they feel like their job is done, even though it's not. In the past, residual checks from previous gigs would keep them afloat in between jobs, but without that, a lot of them are having to deliver Postmates and find side side hustles just to make ends meet. But then you've got these people who are salivating over the idea of spoiled Hollywood writers finally getting a reality check. Good riddance, Hollywood losers. Or should I say Hollyweird? Who even needs human writers anymore? Just have ChatGPT do it. Everything's just sequels and remakes now anyway. And this sentiment that I've seen...
Nothing gets my fucking blood boiling like a bunch of blue checkmark dumbasses talking about a thing with like insane amounts of confidence, but the thing that they're talking about, they have no idea how it works. It's just Dunning-Kruger blasted on my fucking face every goddamn day. It's like, I want to avoid seeing it. If it honestly feels like rusty nails scraping my fucking retina. Every single time I turn on Twitter, they're literally everywhere. They're like popping up left and right. I'm like, stop! At first, I thought it would be funny because I love looking at stupid shit, okay? Like, I love looking at unhinged screeds, right? You know this. I've talked about how creative the writing is in, like, disability activist Twitter sometimes, where people will just, like, say some incredibly wild ideas that I've never even seen before. I truly think that that's unique, and we should appreciate it, like the Tumblr style woke screeds. I think that that's where writing is, right? That's where creativity is, as long as you don't, like, take it seriously, which a lot of people do, okay? Anyway, I love that shit. So I thought Twitter was going to be like that with Twitter Blue. No, these guys are just fucking stupid, dog. They're just like insanely fucking stupid and think they're so smart. Yeah, see? Chad is doing it already. Walkable cities are fat phobic. Incredible. Give me that take. I want to fucking inject that directly into my fucking veins. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit I love, okay? The problem with it is that Twitter weirdo game is pay to win now. It's not for the love of the game. Yeah, exactly. It sucks. Now it's like, I was wondering who the fuck loves Elon Musk still and adore it, okay? I was always wondering who the fuck are his, like, insane fan base. And now I get to see it every day in my replies. Because all the blue check marks that paid $8 to, like, let everybody know how fucking stupid they are seemingly can't shut the fuck up.
Shared by hundreds of people online is so infuriatingly stupid. Number one, if you're in support of a company replacing thousands of jobs with one single AI program, you are anti-worker. You are only supporting the billionaires in pursuit of screwing over everyone possible in order to maximize
Dialectics, baby.
their wealth. Now, I understand that you don't give a shit because you don't see any value in creative jobs and think that everyone who complains about it should just go into a real line of work. If you didn't want to get replaced by AI, then learn to code. Disregarding how joyless of an outlook this is to have on life, one where no one gets to make art or do anything they're passionate about, and we should all just be typing code all day while computers get to do all the fun stuff, what makes you think only writing jobs will be replaced by AI? They're not going to stop at the job.
Twitter isn't a human right, though. It's kind of shitty of Elon, but the main issue is with Turkey. See, this is the other reason why I'm not like reeling too much from the impact of Twitter, because all the weirdos that like completely misunderstand what I'm saying or bring up a point that is completely unrelated to whatever the fuck I just said, that want to come across as like super smarmy, can come and find me directly and deliver me the blue checkmark replies on my Twitch stream. Like, I never said Twitter is a human right. You know, you just like brought that in yourself. I don't know why you brought that in. I think you just wanted to talk about like the Elon Turkey thing. So that's why you like thought this would be a good segue. Meanwhile, the best segues come at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, well, then all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. You know,
that you don't care about, they're going
Speed
to
Razor,
replace
thank you for the 10
all
gift
of
to
the
subs,
jobs.
allowing
I think we
10
should
people
be
to no
in
longer see
support
the
of
ads.
any
Mr.
workers
Members.
who are fighting to prevent this from happening, but you seem to be so distracted by this one tree that you've yet to notice the forest you're standing in. Number 2, the idea that everything is just a remake or a sequel now anyway, so it's not like these writers are even coming up with original ideas. Yeah, there's a lot of rehashed IPs in Hollywood. Guess what? You
Slide
don't
Park,
have
thank you
to
for the 5
watch
gifted.
those. Do you know how much shit has come out in just like the past few years alone? It's been unlike anything I've ever seen before. These 10 out of 10 shows and movies that have unique plots and original characters and up and coming actors that aren't just Chris Pratt doing a voice and give me emotions that I can't even describe, but I guess you were too busy complaining about how woke the new Little Mermaid is to notice any of them. That's your own fault. Look, I get annoyed at how many sequels and reboots and superhero movies there are now too, but you know why they keep making them? Because they make a shit ton of money every time. And you know why they make a shit ton of money every time? Because you keep going to see them. Go watch something else, dude. But if you want more originality in Hollywood, you know what's not going to solve that problem? Fucking ChatGPT. AI does not create original ideas because it can't. It doesn't have unique life experience or a sense of humor that it can draw upon. It is a glorified search engine that just plagiarizes a bunch of elements of already existing human creations and regurgitates it onto a Word document. Can you believe this entire trailer is AI generated? Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, no matter how smart I think you are, if I catch you fucking looking at ChatGPT for advice, and it's not just like purely for the sake of content, I'm going to think less of you. Okay? Like, people do that for content. Okay? People do that for content. People do that for content. And that's fine. I have done it for content back in the day. And I will probably still do it for content. It's like having a little friend for your search engine. Right? But like, if I catch you fucking being like, here's a life decision. ChatGPT, what should I do? Or like, I don't know, fucking things that you could come up with on your own that you think ChatGPT will do a good job. When the motherfucker lies all the time to fill in the gaps. Okay? You're a fool. That's it.
Yeah, I can actually, because this shot is identical to one that already exists. Also, it looks like crap. And on the topic of AI, which is only a small part of the strike, but it's what a lot of these dumbasses are pointing to try to devalue writers and people who create art. To me, it's almost not even a matter of...
Ethan was doing it ironically, but now it's become a real... What? What is Ethan doing?
If
I'm away for one fucking week. What is he doing? He's asking... He's asking ChatGPT, what the fuck?
an entire show could be written by ChatGPT, it's that even if it can, I don't give a shit. I have negative interest in watching like an algorithmically generated show written by software. Using math, we've perfectly optimized this script for human enjoyment. Like, that's what we're gonna do now? No thanks. I like watching TV and movies because they're a celebration of human creativity. I want to see people tell stories about their lives or turn hard times into art because it's incredible that it's even possible to do that. And when you see something that resonates with you and speaks to a part of you that you've never quite been able to put into words and makes you feel emotions like that, that's that good shit. And then you get done watching it, you can look up behind the scenes videos and interviews with the director and the writers and figure out like how they filmed this crazy shot or how they came up with the idea for the ending. Like, I just think it's one of the most beautiful things that we as a human race have created. And I can't even relate to the mindset of someone who's like, yeah, but my computer could do all that. Like, I have nothing in common with that person. And to the people who treat every writer like they're the scum of the earth because they didn't personally enjoy one show, I don't think you realize that a lot of the changes that have been taking place throughout the streaming era, you know, the things the union is striking against, are contributing factors as to why you might not like a show as much as you used to. If there are fewer writers in the room, then the writers they have get stretched thin. If writers aren't paid to be on set while they're filming, then the shows are going to suffer. But most importantly, if someone can't afford to pay rent from doing their job and they have to waste all their time and energy on side hustles just so they can barely afford to eat, they're not gonna do as good at the job. And that goes with any industry. Obviously, if you take care of your employees and give them all the conditions they need to succeed, the work will be better. And then when the work is better, more people talk about it and it makes more money and then everyone wins. It's so simple.
Whenever people fucking say, whenever people are like, oh, dude, these TV shows suck, it's like, it's not the writer's fault, dumbass, either. Like, it's just not. They didn't write the show for their own pleasure. It's not like you think The Big Bang Theory is like a pleasure project, or Young Sheldon was like someone's literal like life's work. Like, you think someone was like, oh, dude, Young Sheldon, like I always wanted to write that. Like, no, man, it's just not. Pleasure project? I meant passion project. Yeah, you think Bazinga came out of someone's passion? No, man. Network TV was like, we need something. Fill it.
Why are we against this? Just so one guy can have a third helicopter? That's the side you're on? He's not going to let you ride it. He doesn't know you. It blows my mind that because of a handful of crap.
Look, this guy said, I want to drop kick Young Sheldon. And this guy said, I was Young Sheldon. And I think this guy is closer to that, or to the reality of chat, than the other guy. Don't shit on Young Sheldon if you're a Twitch watcher, okay? Very likely you were the Bazinga kid.
Happy remakes you've seen. You think every single writer in Hollywood is some millionaire hack looking down on you from their golden throne of infinite money. No, that's the people they're striking against. At the rate things are going, writing will not be a viable career path much longer. The only people who are going to be able to afford to do it are 22-year-olds with rich parents. And I don't want to watch those shows. I hate 22-year-olds with rich parents. So if you want TV to get better, you should be on the side of the people who are best equipped to make that happen. The last thing I'll say is that if you watch this video and you thought, well, I sympathize with the writers here, but this kind of thing is happening in every industry. The economy's in shambles, everything's more expensive now, and wages aren't going up to offset that. I agree. All of that is bad. I'm only focusing on this specifically because it's something that's happened before that I was interested then, I'm interested in now, and it's actively going on as we speak. I hope the writers win this, get everything they demand, and then it inspires other people to do exactly the same thing. Imagine if every public school teacher in the country went on strike at exactly the same time. Society would crumble in like an hour. Their demands would be met instantly. It's a perfect crime. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to put a bunch of links to Twitter threads and news articles and podcasts and things that helped me write the video. One thing in particular, there's like a 7-page document written by a showrunner named Eliza Clark about how to be a writer on set, coming from someone who has years of experience being a writer on set. And I thought this was fascinating, like a really insightful look you don't normally see into everything that goes on behind the scenes. How many decisions need to get made, how many people are involved in making those decisions. I don't know, really interesting stuff. Anyway, I didn't post a video last month because I was gone and I got a mortgage to pay. So please enjoy a word from today's sponsor. Hey, don't click off the video.
Hey, so I've got a secret, and it's about my wife. At around the same time every night, she turns to me and she says, Drew, I'm hungry. And I'm like, again? We just had dinner yesterday. It's like this never-ending thing with her. We'll eat a meal together, everything will be fine, and then the next day it's like, what, yesterday didn't even happen? Did you forget? For years I was struggling to keep up with her insatiable appetite. I mean, where I come from, we have one big meal a year and then we sleep through the winter. I was about to lose my mind. Until I heard of today's sponsor, HelloFresh. To put it as simple as possible, HelloFresh is ingredients in bags in a box that gets shipped to your house and then you cook it into food. I don't have to waste any more time going to the grocery store figuring out what I'm gonna feed my hungry wife. Did you find everything okay, sir? They always ask, seemingly unaware
I'm still in the room. I just have to fucking set up stuff in the behind the PC. Okay? Apologies. I did. I heard him call. For every teacher. across the planet or in the United States of America to do a strike. Man, this Wrangler guy was fucking fire.